Hello, this is Lonnie with Rolling O Farm. What do goats and sheep need? I mean, what are the very basics? If you were to bring some home and unload them at your place today, what would you need ready for them? Let's look at 5 basic needs that goats and sheep have. Come along. So the first thing that you're going to need to have ready for goats and sheep is a good source of food. Now, goats and sheep are ruminants, which means their digestive tracts need vegetation in order to function properly. They need fiber, they need roughage. So a good grass or good browse, some type of vegetation is what they will do best on as a food source. If you have sheep, a good grass that's 6 to 12 inches tall is best. If they graze it down below 6 inches, you may need to consider supplementing with some dry hay. You can usually get good quality dry hay at most local feed stores. You may want to ask for horse hay, horse quality hay. That has a little bit finer stem, and goats and sheep prefer that a little bit more. I have a video in which I calculate how much hay you may need. I'll try to link that in the video description below. But as a general rule of thumb, for every adult goat or sheep that you have, you'll need about 5 pounds of hay per day per animal. Like sheep, goats will eat tall grass, but they also prefer browse, bushes and saplings, briars and vines, honeysuckle, things of that nature. If you don't have that available, they will eat hay. Good quality horse hay, just like with sheep, will suffice. Same calculations, about 5 pounds per adult head per day. If you are going to feed grain, goats and sheep don't need a lot of grain. It should not make up the main bulk of their diet. You can supplement with oats or corn or feeds that are specially formulated for goats and sheep. And if you do so, don't just dump out a whole bunch. Give them small amounts, particularly when starting out. A handful a day or a double handful a day, not more than 1 pound per day is really needed. The main part of their diet needs to be roughage. It needs to be a good quality hay or good grass or good browse. Goats and sheep eventually will need minerals and salts to put out, and there are minerals specially formulated for sheep and minerals specially formulated for goats. You don't have to have that in place immediately when you get goats and sheep, but eventually you will want to supplement their diets with salt and a good mineral supplement. So the second thing that goats and sheep need is a good clean source of water. Now, they don't require large quantities of water like cattle or horses do, but they do need water each and every day. Now, generally speaking, a pond or a stream is adequate, but you want to make sure that it's not heavily contaminated. You don't want them drinking from some runoff or some nasty mud puddle somewhere. And if you're using some type of container like a bucket or a water tank, make sure that every couple of days you rinse it out and provide clean, fresh water for them. Also, in the wintertime, make sure that their water source hasn't frozen over. You want to make sure that they have access to water each and every day. I've got a video in which I talk about making an inexpensive automatic waterer for goats and sheep. I'll link that in the video description below. But a good, clean source of water is vital to goats and sheep overall health. So the third thing that goats and sheep need is protection. You're going to want a good fence for containing goats and sheep. And even if you're not concerned about containing the goats and sheep need a good fence to protect them from predators. Goats and sheep are very vulnerable to attacks from neighborhood dogs, wild coyotes and bobcats, and they need a place that's safe and secure from those things that would prey upon them. Now, I have a video talking about different fencing options that all work well for predator control. I'll link that in the description below. Some other options is to provide a livestock guardian animal, such as a livestock guardian dog or a donkey or a llama. Those are options. But goats and sheep need protection from predators. And so you'll have to find a way to protect them either with a fence or a livestock guardian animal. Number 4, some type of shelter. Goats in particular need to get out of the elements. Doesn't have to be anything fancy or expensive. Just some 3-sided structure with a roof on it that protects them from the wind and the rain will be sufficient. Sheep in warmer climates don't necessarily have to have some type of structure like that, but they do need either shade trees or some type of cover where they can get out of the direct sunlight in the summertime, and they also like to have a little protection from the wind and the rain during a bad storm. But goats and sheep, particularly goats, need some type of shelter. If they're small goats and you just have 1 or 2, maybe even a large dog house will work. If you have several, you need to provide some type of structure for them to get out of the elements. Number 5, goats and sheep need companionship. It's important to remember that they are herd or flock animals, and they don't typically do well by themselves. If you're going to get a goat or a sheep, get at least 2. They need companionship. Now, sometimes they will bond with other livestock, cattle, horses, donkeys, sometimes even dogs or cats. But generally speaking, it's best to have them together with those of their own kind. So that's it. The 5 basics that you have to have in place in order to have goats and sheep: food, water, protection, shelter, and companionship. If you have these 5 things, then you're ready for goats and sheep. Of course, there are other things that you'll need along the way. There'll be certain medications that you'll need. There'll be certain tools that you need. And you can check out the other videos in this channel for more things that'll be helpful in raising goats and sheep. But these are the bare bone basics that have to be in place. If you're within driving distance of Northwest Alabama and you're looking for goats and sheep, maybe a starter herd or flock, give me a call, see what I have available at the time. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like, subscribe to the channel for more content like this. And as always, happy farming.